I hope you had a nice, relaxing 4th of July and that you took a moment to reflect and be grateful. And a lot of young people don't know what to be grateful for at this point. It's just such a mess going on in the country. It's not the same country that my age and others came into, was born into. It has changed, folks. It's a mess. And the reason that it has changed, because the people have changed. You are the world, and the world is you. You are the world. What's happening inside of you, the anger, the up and down emotions, the jealousy, the envy, the strife, the revenge, the war, the insecurity, the fear, all that stuff that's happening in you is happening outside of others in the world. And that's why when you really look around, you don't see real answers. You see that the government is lying to you. They're not going to do anything. They're just like you. They have the same fears, the doubts, the worries, the jealousy, the loss of thoughts, listening to the thoughts, the imagination. They're not getting well with their families. Their families are depressed, on drugs, some form of medication, the same as you. So they're looking on the outside for the answer, just like you. And they go from one new thing to another new thing to another new thing, thinking those things are going to change the reality of what's happening within them. That somehow or another is going to make them feel better. They attack one another to feel better. And then they find someone new to feel better and attack. It's the same thing that's happening inside you. And the answer to each individual problem is within. Until you get better from within, your outside world will be messed up too. You're subject to the world because you're looking with your human eyes, your naked eyes, trying to see what the solution is for you. And so the people who are lost, just like you are lost, they offer you things that will only make it worse and not make it better. They offer you pot, drugs, some type of medication, antidepressant, HDD, whatever they call it, HDD. They offer you something to tell you that, oh, you will feel better. And you follow that and you take it and you don't feel better. Now you feel even more dumbed down and out of it with the same inner conflict. There are, whether you accept it or not, realize it or not, and I know most people will not, no matter what happens in their individual lives, they're not going to accept the reality that there are two ways to live. You can live in and of the world, thinking that the answer to your fears and your doubts and your loneliness and your insecurities and your false needs and your fears will come from somewhere else. Something outside will make you feel better. Oh, get married. You feel better if you were married. And you get married and you catch hell, the man and the woman. Oh, let's have some children. You have children and you feel better with the children when they first come and telling other people that you're going to have some children. And once the kids come, all hell break loose. That doesn't solve it. I know I'll move to a new town or a different town or a different house. That doesn't work. There is another reality, and you got to work on it as an individual. You cannot work on it as a group. Now, you can fellowship the way we do at church as a group and edify one another and pray for one another as a group. But the real solution, the real freedom is got to come from you, from within. There is another reality from within. And there is no human being, there's no nothing that can replace that and bring peace. There's another way to see things. There's another way to deal with things where you come from within, where you live from within, where you live from perfect love. Where you have love. We have the light. We have love, you have the light. And the light that's in you is the light of the Father, the light of God. And if you don't have that light, because you can pretend you have that light, intellectually think you have it, and still be miserable. But when you truly, truly, truly have that light, you're not going to be miserable. And your relationship with the world will start to change. You'll be in it, but not of it. It's not out there, folks. It's not in a book. You can read a book, the Bible. You can read the stories of men in the Bible and women who found that place within, and those who didn't. You can look in there for it, but what you're really, really, really looking for is in you. It really is. And I'm telling you, it's in you. And there are people, and I talk to them all the time, not a lot, but a few, who have sincerely found that place, and they're starting to grow, overcome the world, and growing from the place. Thank you. And growing from it. That place within, because once you truly, truly enter that place within, you can't go out of it. No matter what happens around, no matter what happened, what people said, the attacks and everything, you're now in that place within, and you just keep going forward. Sometimes it feels like you're not going to make it, but you will. What you're looking for is within. Over the weekend, I heard and talked to people in families, different families and friendships. They just have horrible lives. Miserable, blaming each other, turning on each other, going from people to people, person to person, thing to thing, thinking that that's going to bring them peace. On medication for depression. Everybody and the mama smoking pot. Families do not get along anymore at all. As long as they're phoning with one another, it gives a false appearance of getting along. But as soon as they disagree with one another about one little item, one little thing, that's over now. It changes just like that. Now they're ready to start a war with one another. They don't even just walk away from each other. They have to have a war. They have to build an army against each other. They really divide and build an army. And they come up with 2 new flags. Because now they're both on different sides of the border. It's up to you, folks. It's only going to get worse in the world because the people are not going to get better. A few will, but most won't. Most will not. It's hardly in today's America, and that has changed. And there are few starting to do that, but you can't find people who are willing to stand alone anymore. They feel like they just, and I understand it, they're comfortable with the crowd. And yet they're not comfortable even in the crowd. Because they know the crowd ain't no good. They know the crowd is just agreeing right now, and that can change at any moment, which will cause you to change from the way you feel and think. There's no love. I've never seen a society and families and others that encourages anger over love. And when they do mention love, they're talking about a fake emotional love. Real love causes you to endure all things. Real love causes you to lose and gain without a word about it. Real love comes from within. It's not from another human source at all. It only comes from the creator of us all. But most people don't know that real love. And some people do. Some people start to find it. They hear me say, hey, you need to give up anger. Go and forgive. And when they truly, truly, truly see that they have anger, not intellectually, and maybe some even start out intellectually, but they go and they forgive. And then they realize, wow, that was the problem. Now let me see what's next. And they stop judging themselves and others because they realize they're not in control of anything. Real love causes you to realize you're not in control of the environment inside of you, that fake environment, even the real environment, but the fake one inside of you, and you're not in control of the environment outside of you, inside of others. So why not just let go and let life happen for you and wish everybody else well, knowing that they cannot see? But the way you're treating each other is just abnormal. It's not. It's an evil state of being. It's a state. You're in the wrong state. Meaning mindset and emotions. All that stuff need to go. And the men are as bad as the women. Men used to stop the women. Hey, no, cut it out. Don't gossip. Don't try to hurt no one. Wish everybody well. But now the men lead the women in gossip. They love it. They're excited about it, like a little female. That's so abnormal. Men teach their children and wives and sisters and cousins, aunts, and think, hey, don't do that. You pray for that person by wishing them well. You pray for that person by wishing them well. Nobody, there's not one person on this earth, not one. I don't care if you're the president on down or you, that white Jewish guy, the liberal guy that trying to destroy everything, Soros, George Soros, on down to the poorest person or the richest, or the blackest, or the whitest, or the Chinese. Not one person is in charge of anything. Really. And not one person that has not returned to the Father, truly returned, have peace. Because if you have peace, your whole life will be different. For you, it would be peace on earth. You'd be in it, but not of it. Your loneliness would disappear. Your fears and your doubts and your vices will disappear. Because now you realize you can't make them disappear, so you stop judging yourself. Only the light of God can defeat the darkness. We have never been in control of anything, and we don't have problems. We have situations. But in your fallen state, you call your situations problems because that's what the world named them, and you follow the names that the world give you. You call yourself what the world say that you are. And you become what you say you are. When in reality, you're none of those things. And you've never been into those things. It's just that you've been turned away from the Father, so you've been lost in the wilderness, and you've taken on all these different spirits, these ideas, thinking that they're you, and you go to an expert, the expert says, oh yeah, that's you. And now you think you got to feel free because you accept names to your vices and others, and you get worse. You don't get better. Now you need drugs, or you need fake friends, or you need something to make you feel better, even after you accept the name of what they say that you are. You got to become your own man. You got to become your own woman. There's so much violence in my country today, I never imagined. You can't even enjoy being in a crowd now. The 4th of July. Everybody should be able to, as they have always been able to, go out and enjoy the 4th of July.